In my research project, I will argue that the moral majority's mobilization of the evangelical Christian demographic in the 1980 presidential election constituted a religious revival that manifested itself as a political awakening. During Jimmy Carter's presidency and the years preceding the 1980 election, his policies undercut the evangelical Christian support he had enjoyed when becoming elected in 1976. His policy positions concerning the Equal Rights Amendment, gay rights, and abortion did much to undermine his support among evangelical Christians who had voted for him in '76. Flint and Porter 2005 and Williams God's Own Party 2010. Carter's seeming reversal on religious grounds, even though he attempted to justify his positions on these issues, constituted a moral decline that the moral majority, under the leadership of Jerry Falwell, was determined to prevent by injecting morality into politics. Young 2014. While this may have been a perceived moral decline by Falwell, its existence and eventual influence on the creation of the moral majority is the first major point in proving this thesis because, as with the First and Second Great Awakenings, a perceived decrease in religiosity is often the catalyst for revival. The moral majority committed to its moral course of action by supporting the 1980 Republican nominee Ronald Reagan. The moral majority was first and foremost a group based on morality. Falwell himself claimed several times that he and the moral majority affiliated with neither party, as their collective goal was to increase the morality or religiosity within politics. Clendenin 1980 and Sawyer and Kaiser 1980. This point is proven by the moral majority's ability to unseat a Republican Alabama congressman due to his ideological similarities to Carter. Hebers 1980. The group's foundation in morality serves to discredit the historiographical arguments that the moral majority voted Republican just as strongly for economic reasons as religious. Williams, Sunbelt Politics 2010. The moral majority's influence on evangelical voters is second to none. It registered arguably between 3 and 4 million evangelical voters, and based on two separate data-driven studies, the moral majority's impact on evangelical voters kept them grounded in moral issues and made them just as likely to vote as non-evangelicals, which had not been the case before the election of 1980. Gold and Russell 2019 and Corwin and Keldstadt 1992. The data also demonstrates that after the moral majority disbands in the later 1980s, evangelical voters become more affected by partisanship than voting based on moral issues, a conclusion that supports the moral majority's creation of a political revival concerning evangelical voters. Gold and Russell 2019 and Corwin and Keldstadt 1992. Finally, as Falwell and the moral majority draw comparisons to the First and Second Great Awakenings in the United States. Falwell was characterized as a man with great influence and the ability to reach many Americans through his radio and television programs. Ferguson 1980. This draws a direct comparison to George Whitefield and his utilization of newspapers to reach Americans who he would have been unable to reach otherwise. Lambert 1991. Furthermore, the impact on evangelical Christians in terms of voter mobilization lends itself to comparisons of religious revivals in the First and Second Great Awakenings, which increased the overall religiosity in the United States. Finally, during the Second Great Awakening, there is an emphasis on social justice, especially concerning slavery, that drove many revivals under influential preachers like Charles Finney, Rice 2008. Falwell, while not toting social justice, was on a moral quest against the likes of abortion and other policies that sought to degrade the value of religion in arguably the largest sphere of influence, politics.